Welcome to Faithful Film Fanatic. It's Terry, and today we have a special guest on, Jertaker. And
How's it going? How's it going?
it's going good. So I did something really stupid last night with the and hot sauce, and I don't understand how you continue to do stupid things after going through that stuff just once. And
Well, honestly, I would say that you get used to it after a while, especially if you do it. If you do it enough, you'll just the more extreme stuff you do, it's just like you just kind of like your body's just like, oh, I've been through this before, and it's like, okay, this ain't anything new.
dude, last night felt like a nightmare. It was terrible. Every step I took, it felt like I ran a marathon. My body started aching, and I really thought I was going to pass out.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy. Yeah, honestly, like in one of the vlogs that I have coming out soon, the one where we went to Boston, the person that's a part of my crew and everything like that, he's called the Spice King or whatever. He always tries to have the upper hand when it comes to the hot stuff with me or whatever. He did it in one of my vlogs, actually, without me knowing. He had one of my camera people film him doing it, in one of the stores in Boston. And I didn't even know about it until after it was happened. I was just like, oh, wait, what? You did it without me? I was like, what? So now I have to do my own time doing it, with, maybe I don't think he's going to do it again, but now I'm going to have to do it, probably maybe with a few other people, but not have our Spice King do it. So I'm like, that's just crazy.
It was crazy.
I can imagine.
I'm not sure if that makes me more of a man or just more stupid. So, how's your music and the medical field going for you?
Oh boy. All right. So music right now. I just got on I just had a few more articles. I was on Disrupt and Flower Shive or something. I think it was called. It's something like that. And then I also got on popstars.com. Yeah, so that happened. And I also was talking with some pretty big artists and stuff like that. So we're gonna see, maybe we're gonna get some collabs going or whatever. I talked to a few labels. I also talked to a few big sites and everything like that. Not going to mention which sites yet, but I did talk to a few big sites. You know what I'm saying by sites, kind of like, say something like well, obviously, what like World Stars, right? There's a lot of different sites that are kind of like that, or something like even like, Forbes or you know what I'm talking about. Like just like big names for music sites or whatever. So I was talking to a few of them. I was talking to some so there was actually a few in California as well. Some news anchors actually I was talking to. So that was pretty cool. I've been working with a few verified artists or whatever. Soon I'm going to be on the road to verification as well.
Awesome.
I also got like a bunch of different songs in the works. I got some songs that are like rock songs, some pop songs. I've been practicing my singing more, and I got a lot of releases coming soon. I made it known to the web that I got 50 plus songs that I'm working on right now. So some albums, some EPs, some singles, some collaborations, some solos.
All right. That's awesome. That's really exciting. And
yeah, I'm going hard with
it. And what about being the
yes,
Norse medical field?
Yes. So as of right now, I'm just keeping up with my education, keep learning, keep getting my experiences up, my work experience, etc. And just gonna keep working my way up and eventually working my way to a doctor of nursing.
Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
Hopefully you'll not have to deal with so much of people just not taking care of people. When I tried working at a nursing home, it didn't go very well. There's so many people just taking shortcuts and people not getting proper care.
Yeah. See, the thing is with nursing homes is that there's very select few people working in there that are like that been through a lot of the educational process. Like there's a lot of people who are either CNAs or aides or dietary, and all of those positions are just not really they didn't get a lot of the nursing education. You know what I'm saying? When you get the nursing education, they teach you about the psychology part. They teach you about, safety. They teach you about, infection control, anatomy, basically how to have morals and stuff like that. And a lot of those positions in a nursing home, they didn't learn that unless you're the RN or unless you're like, one of the higher up ones or the one in charge. Yeah. Unless you're one of the ones in charge, you normally didn't get a lot of teachings. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get the education. You didn't get all the stuff that they're teaching you to make sure you know what you're doing and how it affects people and how it even affects the family. Because like a lot of times if you don't treat your patient or your client or whatever, or if you don't treat them well, that not only affects them, it affects the family too. And it should affect you as well. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking care of somebody and you're not doing, doing something right, that should affect you too. But you really learn that stuff when the higher you go up in the medical field. They teach you a lot about that stuff. And they really, drill it to you that what you're doing, makes a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? So, it goes down to integrity, what you do when no one is watching. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It affected me a lot when I worked in a nursing home, and I was surrounded by people that treated these individuals more as a task or an object than an actual person.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like I hate when I hear about stuff like that.
Yeah.
During my clinical that I had back when I was in high school or whatever, that there was one nursing home that we were working in or whatever, and it was just like there were some good people working there, but then there was other ones that were saying like, oh yeah, I know you guys are taught to take it more careful, do it like the right way that you would consider the right way or whatever, but yeah, we're just not going to do that because it's going to take too long. And I'm like, what? And I'm just like, you got to do it the right way. I mean, if it takes a little bit longer, that's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just take shortcuts when it comes to people's lives. Like, you know what I'm saying? That'd be like, you go into the emergency room because you have a leg that's about to be fall off or something like that, and they say, oh well, we're just gonna give you some pain medication, send you on the way or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my leg's about to fall off, okay, but now I'm not hurting as much, but my leg's still about to fall off. And they'll be like, oh well, fine, we'll put a band-aid on it.
Yep.
It's like, what is that gonna do?
Exactly. How's wrestling coming along? Have you been practicing any more wrestling?
Honestly, it's been going pretty interesting. I had one person challenged me. That's not a part of my league. So we're gonna see if we can get a match going. Everybody that's in my league though, I guess is now too scared to go up against me. So I guess I've made too much of a name for myself because everybody said, go up against you. Yep, nope, I'll go up against anybody else but you. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I guess I'm just gonna stay on top until somebody wants to take my place. So right now I'm basically the champion. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, I went the last time I went a little bit harder than I normally did. So I upped I upped how much I've been trying and everything like that a little bit more. Cause before I used to go easy on people and stuff like that. Being one of the top contenders, I usually try to go easier on people. So now I was like, there was one or two people that were getting close to beating me or whatever. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go a little harder. So I went harder on like everybody. And now I guess everybody's like scared to go up against me now. So I guess that's what it takes when it comes to being one of the top contenders. You don't get as much matches, I guess, anymore because everybody's scared. It's either that or you get all the matches because everybody wants to try to beat you.
Yeah. But
yeah, so I got one coming up soon. I'm not sure when it is. We're still working out on dates and all that stuff for when it'll be coming. The other thing is too, I actually have a surprise for one of my friends that I was talking to a WWE superstar, and I have a surprise coming for one of my friends. So
that's awesome.
I'm not going to say too much and I'm actually going to have it tonight on social media. So that's going to be pretty cool. A former WWE superstar, I should say, because he recently retired. But yeah. So that's gonna be pretty awesome. That's gonna boost my my wrestling stuff because having relations with former WWE superstars is pretty cool.
Yeah. Is this unnamed former WWE superstar also an actor?
Well, you'll see. You'll have to see. But
Oh, I was
I'm
gonna
gonna tell you
guess
this. I'm gonna tell you this. I know you know this person. I almost guarantee it. If you know anything about WWE, you will probably know this person.
Was he in the Expendables?
I'm not gonna answer too much questions. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm not gonna answer too much questions. I'm gonna let you see for yourself tonight.
All right, I got a couple people going in my mind. All right. So with Halloween coming up, it's what's your favorite Halloween movie?
Oh, favorite Halloween movie? Like, are you talking like one of the ones that are just like a one-time movie or a series of movies, or like, are we talking horror, thriller, or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general, doesn't matter if it's a series or not.
No.
All right, I would have to say the Halloween or Friday the 13th movies are really up there as one of my favorites. Now if we're talking series. If we're talking just a regular movie, Amusement. I really like the movie Amusement. I don't know if you've ever checked that out. It's about like a movie with like a clown that like from there's these girls or whatever that went to school with this one dude or whatever, and then he like tries to come after them later in life. That movie is really good, actually. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend it. It's a really good movie.
Have you ever seen Happy Death Day?
That sounds really familiar. What's that about again?
So it's basically combination of Scary and Groundhog Day into a movie called Happy Death Day, where this person relives every day until she figures out who killed her.
Oh yes, I did see that. That movie was a good movie. I agree. That was really good. Yes, I did they make two of them? I think they made two of them, didn't they?
Yeah.
I seen both of them. Yes.
They're good.
I didn't remember it though at first because like there's so many movies that I've seen now. I'm like at this point I'm just like they said like I have to hear what they're about before unless it really like was a movie that was like unique or something like that, where like I never heard like a name kind of like that before, then I tend to remember it or whatever. But if I've heard like similar names to movies or whatever, I tend to forget the names to them unless they're a classic or whatever. But
right. So with movies, and I think you would agree with me that films keep kind of going less and less quality over the years.
Yeah.
So would you kind of say that in the direction that the film industry is going, TV shows and video games are more creative now than movies are? Because people that we pay for movies just keep getting lazier, and just keep copying other people's work instead of being new again.
So what I would say with older movies versus newer movies, and then bringing in video games. So older movies, I would say they did not have the right or proper effects that they do now to pull off some of the things that they did, but they were way more thought out. Like they had like really good ideas. They just didn't know how to execute them all properly, a while back. Now they're figuring out how to execute almost anything in it for a movie. But now they're doing too much copying of a lot of movies, and they're also copying ideas. Because like whether if they don't copy the exactly with the movie, they'll make a similar movie because one did good. So let me give you an example. So say like all right, say the newer Jumanjis and everything, right? They have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? Then they just made another movie just recently that's very similar to that. I don't know if you've seen it, that also has Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it, and it's about like him being on a
Jungle
boat.
Cruise.
Yes, Jungle Cruise. And to me, it reminded me so much of like just the similar thing, because like he's just like he's the the bigger guy that's in the jungle and everything like that. He can beat everybody up, he goes against the bad guys and everything like that, and in the end, it turns out in his favor, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just that same type of theme, you know what I'm saying? And it keeps occurring. And like I liked it, like it was a good movie, I guess, but it's just like I'm like, can't we come up with something like unique? You know what I'm saying? Like really unique. Like I guess it was kind of unique, but like it's just like it wasn't as unique as it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to like I would say movies like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they were coming up with really good, unique movies. And then they start, once it hits like 2000s, they start, remaking stuff. Maybe even maybe the early 2000s, they had some pretty good movies and stuff like that. It's just then after that, now they're just, I think, running out of good ideas. And they're just, they're just like, oh, what can we remaster? And I'm like, why do you need to remaster? Like, just, use that creativity from the remaster in a whole new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like, I don't know. It's crazy.
One thing I've always thought of is why, instead of making 1,000 movies of a movie that was such a massive hit, why not leave that alone and redo all the terrible movies? If you're
there we go. That's a good idea.
Movies, why not redo ones that were failed and make them better?
You want to know what I have to say? Actually, is about you know how like the war between DC and Marvel or whatever, and how like a lot of times with the movies, Marvel always beats DC when it comes to the movies and stuff like that. Like they've always in history been beating Marvel's been beating them when it comes to the movies. I think what they need to do is use all these their skill to make movies or everything, and all the stuff that they know how to do to pull off everything and execute things properly, and their good marketing skills, and rebuild the DC universe, because the DC has really good stories. They just don't know how to execute their movies properly. So I really think that they should go back and try to recreate a lot of the movies that failed when it versus when DC versus Marvel. Like a lot of the movies that Marvel created, they became big, and everything like that. And then the DC kind of didn't do too good. I think they should go back and they should fix them all, and then, try to further compete with Marvel instead of kind of just, Marvel wins, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't throw in the towel.
Yeah. Like, I think they just need to try harder. And I feel like they're giving up a little bit. Like they're not even making as much movies. Like now, since Marvel's, getting paid so much, they're doing so good, they were making so many hit movies and stuff like that. I think I think DC just gave up, because they're really, what do they throw out, like one, maybe 2 movies a year now, when Marvel's throwing out like, 5, 6 movies and per year. Yeah. It's like, wow. And on top of that too, Marvel tends to always beat them. So it's just like, wow, that's just crazy. But when it comes to video games though, I do agree that video games are definitely a lot more thought out than movies. There's some of them that they're taking like 6 years to make the video game. There's no really movies nowadays taking 6 years to make. They wouldn't take 6 years. They normally don't even try to, if they did, they usually working at most like a year. And like, I guess a year is a long time, but at the same time too, when you're trying to make really good thought out movies, there's, all right, take Disney, for example. Disney has really thought out movies. Now, the thing is with Disney, kind of like, have you seen the, what's the movie called? Souls?
I have not. I have not watched it yet.
You need to check that out. That movie is probably one of my favorite movies. That is a really, really thought out good movie. And like, you'll watch it multiple times and catch things you didn't see the first time. Really good movie. Other, when it comes to nowadays in the movies and stuff like that, I do think Disney is keeping up though with keeping the thoughts and the, making a really good movie. You know what I'm saying? I really think that they're doing a great job. But a lot of the other companies and stuff like that are making movies, I think are lacking quite a bit. And
I disagree with that, because Disney's like
even almost
Disney's is like monopolizing the film industry. Like,
that's true.
They bought out Fox. They that was more back ago. They bought out Hulu, and I'm sure that they keep expanding. And I don't know, they're just too big, and I prefer more small people.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, smaller ones tend to be more creative because they have to compete so much.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is with I would say Disney, the Disney children's movies tend to be really, really thought out.
All right.
Maybe not all of them, but but the children's movies or the cartoon ones or whatever like that, even if they're not like super just family movies, I would say the main meant for kids and families, you know what I'm saying? Those
the Lion
movies,
King.
yeah, things like that, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those movies and stuff like that, I think are a little more thought out, and they kind of have a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of hidden things, and like a lot of thoughts to them, and kind of so I think Soul was they took quite a few years actually making that movie, if I remember correctly. But definitely check that out. I think you'll like that. But yeah, in general, I think that most video games nowadays are really, really thought out compared to the movies. Because I don't know if you've heard of or played or tried out Red Dead Redemption 2. If you
I've
check
played
that
a
one
little
out,
bit.
yeah, if you check that one out compared to the first one, there is like every single thing was upgraded. Every single thing, basically. There's like not a single thing that they didn't lack in. You know what I'm saying? Like they literally put everything into that. And they spent so much time doing it. I mean, what? They spent like, let me see, the first one came out in like 2010, and then they spent like 8 years or something on it. Cause I think the next one came out in
Yeah.
2018. Yeah. So I
19,
mean,
something like that.
19? Yeah,
think
18,
so.
19, something like that.
Yeah.
They took like 8 years perfecting that. Like, that story was really well. Like, I really like that story. It's one of my favorite games like ever. And like, it's just, they did so much with it compared to like the first one. I really liked the first one. So, and I was expecting like when they were making it or whatever, I was like, oh, I'm going to like it. But like, I don't think it could beat the first one. And then I played the second one. And after I beat the whole thing, I was like, they beat the first one. How'd they do it? They beat the first one. Well, I guess that makes sense. They took 8 years on it. I'm like, dang.
See, that's the thing that's so bad about movies is when they make sequels, it's usually done within a year or two. They don't really take the time to actually make it worth watching.
Exactly. Now, something I would like, something I think they did really good with like sequels and stuff like that is like the Rocky series. If you check out from like the first one, they would take like some of them was like 3-4 years until they made the next one, and they would get continue progressively creating a really good idea for it, and it turned out really good.
Yeah, but most of the Rocky,
until recent,
most of the Rocky movies were in the 20th century though. It wasn't until the 21st century that people just stopped being creative.
Exactly. But now I don't know if you've seen some of the newer Rocky movies, something like that, or even based off the same story.
You're talking about Creed?
Yeah, either Creed or even the ones where he's like older or whatever, trying to get into the fights or whatever. I feel like they slowly got a little bit, down, what I'm saying? Like they're not as good as they were, from the beginning. Like the first one, the second one, the third one, even the fourth one were really good. But then when it started going from like the fifth one, the sixth one, even the seventh one, the Creed series, I was just kind of like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I mean, I think they could have did better. But like, and I don't think that was right. I was like, why would they, take like a really good, series like that and like basically downgrade it? You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't right to me, like, because it was really, really good in the beginning and it just slowly fell, you know what I'm saying? And I bet you it's that the newer ones didn't do nearly as good. I bet you if we looked at the stats on the newer ones, they didn't do nearly as good as like the original few.
Oh, I bet you're right. The going back to the film Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock, one of my favorite directors whenever he was around, is so brilliant. I've watched so many of his interviews, and even at the time, whenever he was doing movies, there were a lot of people around him that wanted him to do shortcuts. Hey, do this to be easier on you. But he stayed loyal to his audience. He didn't care how long it took to do something. He wanted to give it his all. and to the audience. And there's
Exactly.
not very many directors like that anymore.
I agree. And I honestly think that that is what would bring up the not only the quality, but the story, and also the amount of people who are willing to either purchase it or stream it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of times people nowadays are just like, there's ways of getting it for free, but like they don't realize that slowly we're not going to have even movie theaters anymore if everybody gets their movies for free. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then everybody's going to say, oh, back in the old days where we used to have movie theaters. And then it's going to be like, well, the reason why we don't have movie theaters is because the
Everything
films
went
are not
digital.
going as good and nobody wants to see them.
Yeah.
And it's terrible because people would be willing to pay to watch a movie if they went to the movie and was like, damn, that was good. You know what I'm saying? Instead of them walking out, it was okay.
Exactly. And
Right.
so many, if you go back through his career, so many of his movies, it's just pure genius. He like plays with your mind almost.
True.
And not very many movies nowadays could you say, wait, what? Like leaves you thinking after you're done watching it.
Exactly. A lot of them are you're just like you after you finish it, you're like, oh, that was an alright movie, or that was a good movie, or that was you understand it completely to where you don't even think much about it. You just kind of like you move on and then you'll forget about it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to have a good movie to where you have to think a lot about it and you don't forget it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of movies in which you watch them and then you don't forget it. And I think when it's one of those types of movies where you don't forget it, I think that's when they're really thought out and really good.
Right. I in forensics class back when I was in 7th grade, the teacher had us watch The Birds for class. I don't know if you've seen that film.
I have not actually.
Well, after I watched that film, I was scared of birds.
No, really?
Because in the movie, they take over the world, basically.
Oh, I did watch that. Is that older movie that where the birds like attacked all the people or whatever? Yeah. Yeah. I've watched that. Yeah.
That was one of Hitchcock's later films. Yeah.
Yes. I did watch that actually. I almost forgot about that.
And it wasn't even just Hitchcock that's so creative. Like in the 50s, there were so many creative movies that came out. There was this one movie, Harvey, with James Stewart. I don't know if you've seen it.
What's that one about? Like again, I don't remember all the names to them all.
So in this movie is called Harvey, and this James Stewart, it plays this character whose best friend is Harvey, a rabbit, but you never see him. So the whole movie, you're learning about this character that you don't see. It's very fascinating. It uses your mind and creativity.
Yeah. I've heard of it, but I have not watched it. I'll have to check that out.
And so, in the same way with Psycho, I love how I was watching a lot of interviews about this movie and how Alfred Hitchcock went on and on about how he wanted to, he could scare you more if he made you imagine the worst thing. That's why when they're in the shower scene and other scenes in the movie, it's cut the way it is he wanted you to kind of get mental, have your own imagination of it, because that is more scary than whatever he could show you.
Well, yeah, true. Because what some people they have a real like bland, thought, process or whatever. So where they'll watch something and they'll just be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And they just kind of understand. But then there's other people who have a real big imagination. So they can kind of make more fear out of it, fear for themselves out of it just by imagining what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't fully, if you don't fully show your audience what you're trying to purvey or whatever, it leaves it to your imagination, and it really gets you thinking about it. It really gets you to, because then it'll get people talking about it. Like say somebody says, and then the thing through word of mouth. Like I'm sure you probably at some point either heard of or played that game where you whisper into somebody's ear through a line of people, and eventually it comes out totally different. Well, yeah. So they do. That gets everybody talking about if you do something like that, because one person will say, "Oh, did you watch that movie where this happened?" And then that person will be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard about this movie where blah blah blah," and it keeps going different and different. Then everybody's talking about it, and then everybody has to watch it to see. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like that definitely helps. I agree.
One really funny thing though about this movie that was so crazy was I was watching all these interviews with different people at the time this movie was released that went to go see it in theaters, and they were talking about how violent, how scary it was. But you actually go back and watch Psycho, it's not violent at all. It just makes you think it is. It
Yeah.
goes just enough to make you, man, that's messed up, but nothing really messed up happened.
Yeah, true. Especially because they didn't really show a lot of the things that happened. Like it wasn't like one of those types of movies where you've seen like when it came to the knife scenes and all that stuff. It wasn't like one of those like movies like now when they have like a lot of scary movies and stuff like that, they'll show a knife going in and everything like that, blood everywhere. Like it's just like that. It was just kind of like more of a mellow type of kill. A dramatic mellow kill from different angles to make it to where it's not too extravagant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
But
And
it
that
still
makes you
made you think
kind of,
about it. Still
yeah, it
made
makes you
about
think about it more than like look when you looked at it, it's not like you had to look away because it was too gory or look away because it was too graphic, or you know what I'm saying? But it was
Right.
one of those types that you can watch it, you're fine watching it, but then after you're thinking about it, like, oh, I wonder how it would have, you know, like how what happened or where the person got stabbed, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of made you really have to think and fill in the blanks basically.
Right. And as Alfred Hitchcock does a very good job overall with the film Psycho, but I did have problems with the characters in the movie. How did you feel about the
Which
characters overall?
some were good, some were eh. That's how I feel.
So I did a lot of research on the film, and what I realized, if the people listening, if you haven't seen this movie, I do apologize. I'm about to spoil it for you, but so go watch the movie. So what I realized is Marion and Norman Bates are uncanny doubles. They're pretty much the same person, just two different characters. They're written out to be exactly the same characters, wanting the exact same thing. So that was mind blowing when I realized that, and it took me a while. I had to rewatch it a few times after I figured that out, and that made it so confusing. but
Yeah, yeah.
but you think about it, it makes sense, but it's so weird.
Yeah, true. The one thing I don't like is that some of the I would say that the some of the acting um was kind of though with it, because I don't know if that's because it was just like, you know, an older movie or but I'm not sure. But some of the acting, like I think they could have done better acting on like it, especially say like you're about to die or whatever. I feel like it would have been a little bit more like probably more scarier for her, and she acted like and then that dies or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I was just like I think it would be a little bit more you know, dramatic than that, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right, right.
yeah, so I mean it was, some of them were good with the acting, but like I think that you know the actor who plays Norman, I think he's a good actor. I think he's pretty good. Just some of the other ones I was like it could have been better, but for the most part I think that, you know, his act, like the you know, the actor that plays Norman, I think his acting's really good though. Like I think he made the movie as good as it was, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. Yeah,
He
Janet.
carried it.
Yeah, for sure. I find it very confusing how Alfred Hitchcock introduces the character Marion. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like introducing her, having an affair with somebody, that being her introduction, you already don't want to like her. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
no matter what good things she does, you're not going to want to like her. And, like, I don't understand
true.
why she was introduced that way. Like, I feel like the movie, and so often in the movie, she was so dumb. Like, I don't
Literally.
understand why she did the things she did. Like, they're in that part where you're supposed to think that that cop was after her? You remember that?
Yeah.
Why did she pay for a new car knowing that the cop was right across the street and then
Literally.
took off? Like, wouldn't you want to like be more mindful if you're trying to get away from somebody or
For
something?
sure.
Don't do it right in front of them.
Hmm.
I didn't
Yeah, I don't know.
understand that part.
Honestly, there's probably so many things in that movie that just like went right over our heads. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it was really thought out. It's just like we just don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then we would have to keep watching like videos on it or reading about articles on it or reading things about it or looking into it. And it's like there's probably so many things that we'd be like, oh, wow, that's really smart. I didn't even catch that, you know? But like I don't know. I guess that's just what it is when you have a really good director and creator of a good movie. You just have
Right.
a bunch of things where like, huh?
But that cop, I didn't understand because the music, that the soundtrack in that movie, it made you feel like he was going to be one of the bad guys, but we never saw him again. And
True.
so like it gave me like weird vibes because I really thought that there was something creepy about him, but I don't know because we
Mm.
never saw him again.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. I mean, hey, I guess that's a good tease. Well, I mean, I guess that you thought that was going to be a teaser, and then it kind of was just like, yep, nope. It's just like,
So I mean, I guess that's kind of genius, I guess.
yeah, it gets you distracted. Yeah.
And then, you know, I keep thinking about like in the beginning of the movie, she takes that guy's money and just leaves. And
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, then that old guy hires a investigator, but we never hear of the old guy ever again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was
I guess
kind
that
of weird.
movie's really good at having introducing a character and then just disappears.
Yeah.
Never hear
And
from them again.
right. But it was kind of interesting if you go back and think about the beginning of the movie when Marion is having an affair with this guy at her lunch break. She almost makes it where she's shaming herself for having an affair with this guy. And you can kind of get the
Yeah.
idea that all she really wants is to have lunch with a guy that doesn't want sex with her. And it kind of you kind of get her fantasy in her first encounter with Norman Bates because Norman
True.
Bates doesn't want anything sexual to do with her. He just wants to have someone to eat with.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. Very true. Um, have you seen the show that Bates Motel?
I have not seen the TV show.
That is a really, really good TV show that actually is like based off the same story or whatever. It just shows before like the original Psycho movie. It shows
Okay.
like everything that happened before, like when his mom was alive and everything like that, and like him going to school and this and that, and then after he graduates and all that stuff. Like it shows all that stuff and him building up to the character of that he plays that this movie, the original movie, this original movie's Norman Bates Psycho. You know what I'm saying? It literally builds it up to that, you know what I'm saying? And shows how everything happened, why the mother's, dead, why, like, how did that happen? And it shows like how he became like kind of a little crazy and everything like that. And like, or a psycho. And like, yeah, it's just like he like kind of just shows him from like when he's younger, building up to being psycho. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
It's pretty interesting.
Do you have you seen that whole series?
I have.
Does it sorry, does it answer all the questions that someone like me would have about Norman Bates, or are you still left
Oh yes.
with
Oh
questions?
yes. It definitely answers all the questions about how he became what he is in that original movie, and it also gives you even more, honestly more, because like there was certain things that you watch the movie, like the movies and everything, that the older ones, and you were just like, I don't understand this or that, or why is this like this? Or you have so many questions that were just, unanswered. And then it's crazy that so many years later, they finally came up with something to answer and fill in the blanks to all those things and everything like that. And it was a really good, series. But you want to know what's really cool about it too?
What?
Is that, how like it obviously, since the original was like what, 1960 or something like that.
Yeah.
This one was like modernized though, kind of. So everything's like old and eerie and kind of weird, but at the same time too, it's during modern day, like where they have cell phones, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But they still pulled off the story really well, to where, everything's answered and everything makes sense to the story of the movies and stuff like that. Just it's in modern day. It's really interesting.
All right.
It's really, really interesting.
I had so many questions about Norman Bates because he was such a peculiar character. Like he reminded me a lot of the Joker.
True.
And so is like the Bates Motel kind of similar to like Joker? Like, does it make you sympathize for Norman? Like,
it does actually. The show, if you watch the show, you will actually be rooting for him, which is really crazy. They literally pulled that off. And honestly, like, because it shows when he was like technically like innocent, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
How he became what he is. And like, you just kind of like, oh yeah, I like this character. And you start getting into the characters and all that stuff. And then you're like, dang, they did something stupid again. Why do they keep doing that? And then, you know what I'm saying? And then by the end, you're just like, okay, this dude's just nuts. I don't even know how to have sympathy for him anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But in the beginning, you're just like, you're really rooting for him the whole time. Like, it's literally crazy. And throughout the series, I think it's like, what is it? 4 seasons? I think it's 4 seasons. They made it to where, from the beginning, you're really rooting for him. By the end, you're just like, what is he going to do now?
Definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's, obviously, when you're watching shows or whatever, it's kind of hard to watch all of them. But I mean, as long as you just like watch one at a time, eventually you'll get through them all and, just, maybe watch one a week or something like that so that, it's really,
yeah,
that's kind of cool to, see it over time, what happens. It's really interesting though. Honestly, I was impressed. I was really impressed with that show. I don't even like shows a lot. Like a lot of times I feel like when it comes to shows, things are just, dragged on too long. And I normally don't get into too many shows, but for this one, I really like this one. So I was like, all right, you know what? This one's worth it.
Yeah, and I've been the same way, but something I've noticed is for TV shows, you tend to care about the characters a lot more. Like, even though it's harder to find a good TV show than it is a good movie, once you find that good TV show, it's like 55 million times better than that good movie.
True, yeah, because you can really, everything's just, yeah, there's just more there to it. You learn more about the characters. There's a lot of details that aren't left out to where you're like, how do I even care about this person? I don't know this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it's they just kind of focus, I think, more on you kind of relating to the main character.
Right.
Versus like the movie, they're trying to get the point across fast.
Right. So what did you like about Psycho and what did you not like?
Something I do like is that I like how the older movies and stuff like that, a lot of the effects they did pull off, or the things they did pull off, are just a lot more creepy than they are like now. Because now, like, they can do so much that they almost don't care to make it realistically creepy. Like it's like it's more corny, I would say, nowadays. And it's not really that corny in that, it's more actually like creepy. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like even like the car scenes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, everything's just more creepy. And it's kind of cool actually. But and the other thing I like about it too is that, like, some of the characters too. Like I just feel like they're like obviously some of them they're not. I like I said they're not super. You know, some of them weren't super great actors, but you kind of I don't know. It's just like there's just something with them that's just like it draws you into the movie, just kind of like paying attention to it and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different. I also like the background music that they play in a lot of older movies, especially like Psycho, because they have like really like suspenseful, like higher noises and stuff like that that kind of get you to be like, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it really, and that's actually half of a movie is the music and the audio and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If you draw somebody in with the sounds that are in the background or the music or whatever, it really gets the movie like life to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's like things that they show like videos and stuff like that where they show like a video with sound effects versus without sound effects and stuff like that. And when you watch the video without sound effects, it just seems like bland. You know what I'm saying? Really, just
Right.
kind of like, who cares about it? But as soon as they add the really good sound effects to it, it like can make the something that doesn't even look that good look good because it sounds good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And those are the things I would say I really liked about Psycho is those things were really thought out and they were really unique. You know what I'm saying, compared to like a lot of the movies that, especially when it comes to like thriller or horror movies, they were definitely like unique compared to some of the other ones.
Um, did you ever? I was just kind of curious, and if I have to watch the show to get the same question answered, that's fine. But uh, during the movie, the way Norman Bates refers to his mom about being ill, but then
Yeah,
the way the other characters talk about his mom, it never really sounded like she ever really was ill. He just killed, killed her
yeah,
because she had a love for, yeah, which is kind of
yeah,
disturbing when you think about it. A son killing
yeah.
his mom for, anyway. Uh, does the show answer that, or are you still like, huh?
Everything's answered pretty much.
Okay.
Everything, even including that. Honestly, you even have sympathy and root for the mom as well. In the show, it's a really good show, and they had really good actors and actresses in that show. Like they really pulled that off. Like honestly, I was impressed.
All right. I'll definitely check it out. Let's see. But you didn't like the character Marion very much, did you?
I wasn't too fond for her acting. She was just kind of like she was okay. Like she there were certain parts where I was like, okay, yeah, she's a pretty good actor. There was other parts where I was just like, okay, that you could have pulled off a lot better than that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that should have been a retake. Because there's just some parts where she wasn't. I mean, think about it. Say you go to like a creepy motel or whatever, and you just you're talking to someone as creepy as like Norman Bates. There's just certain parts where she's just like, her eyes are a little bit open wide or whatever, and then she just responds back to him, and then it's just like other than that, like going into she seemed like once she was in the motel part, like the room or whatever, she just had no care in the world. She just acted super relaxed. She was all good. She was all fine, forgetting that she's in a creepy motel. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if I was getting creeped out by the person running a motel, I don't think I'm going to be super relaxed and laid back and chill and everything when I'm in there, because especially after movies and shows like that, you would not be just sitting there all like laid back and relaxed like you're at a 5-star hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like
But
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I feel like it was just, and then at the same time too, when she got killed, she was just really like she got killed, so it seemed so peacefully, like she died peacefully, even though she just got stabbed multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, there's just certain things I just wasn't too fond of the acting with.
I get most of what you said, But another thing I was
Yeah.
thinking about was I felt like the first time she walked into the Bates Motel, you weren't supposed to find it creepy. Because at the time, we didn't know anything. Well, you might have because you saw the show. But at the time I was watching this and the other people from when this came out, you didn't know anything about Norman Bates.
True. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I seen actually the movie before I seen because I seen it years ago. I seen the movie before I seen the show. But the thing is with it is just by the name of the movie, Psycho, you could kind of tell what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was called. It's not like it's gonna be called, Motel. If it was called Motel, that could go either way. You know what I'm saying? So calling it Psycho, and then some girl comes to a motel while it's nighttime and raining out. You know what I'm saying? Like you could kind of put pieces together.
Put that together, but that's pretty smart.
Really? You know what I'm saying?
So
I just like, when it comes to movies, whenever it's usually dark out and it's raining out, and then there's certain types of music and things like that, you're just like, okay, something's gonna happen. You can just kind of start putting things together. You're just like, yeah, it's not gonna be all rainbows and sunshine anymore.
But to a certain extent, aren't horror movies supposed to have that little cliche to it?
True. You're right.
I mean, if not, I haven't seen very many horror movies that aren't cliche. Like the ones that aren't cliche are usually really good, but I just feel like maybe that's what everybody goes by, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, like the movie Screams, like why would people make those?
Yeah, true. I mean, it's there's pros and cons, I'm sure, with everything they do for a lot of the horror and thriller movies, but whether I could fully understand them or not, because I don't do a lot of research into movies. You would probably know more than I would, but honestly, I'll just watch the movie, and whether I some things I'll question, some things I get it, and then I just kind of just like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I guess it's cool.
Right.
So I mean, if I looked into it, maybe I would understand it more, but there's just certain things I was like, but then there was other things I was like, I really like that. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool.
Your network bandwidth is low. Hey, what does network bandwidth mean?
Network bandwidth, maybe that has something to do with like your connection maybe to it. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I've seen that a few times. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. I won't worry about it then. So I feel like I thought we would still be talking, but I feel like that's everything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like it was a good movie, and there's not a lot to critique or the few things we already did talk about, but honestly, it was a pretty good movie. I like it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not really, unless we're gonna start talking really good about it.
I really liked the psycho smile at the end. Like, I don't know if that's, I've never seen the psycho movies before, so I assume that's like a signature now because that was really good.
Oh yeah. But yeah, well, I forgot how many. Do you remember how many movies there are of Psycho? I know there's more than one.
I was watching a 1990 interview with Anthony Perkins promoting like the fifth Psycho movie, and that was in 1990. So I have no idea.
let me look this up. I'm kind of curious on that. I know there's like at least two. Let me see. Psycho.
It might have been 4. It was either 5 or 4, but I was watching like a 1990 interview. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. There's this one.
Which I imagine after watching after 2 or 3 of these movies, why would there need to be more than 3? Like, what else?
Wow, Psycho 2. They took it. The first one was 1960. The second one was 1983.
Okay, so that was probably a really good sequel then.
23 years. You did
Either
not see
really
that.
good or
Oh
really
yeah.
bad.
Then, but you want to know what's really weird about that though, is that the next one, number 3, came out 3 years later. So they took 20 something years. Then they made a third one.
3 years
Let's see.
later.
Is there a fourth one? Oh, there is a fourth one. Then 1990. So
Okay, so that was
then
the
they took
fourth
after
one.
that
Okay,
4 years.
Okay, so that was fourth, not fifth.
Let
Not
me
bad.
see. Is there 5? Yeah, no, I think there's 4.
Okay,
Pretty
so
sure.
I got 4 and 5 mixed up. All right.
Yeah,
But
and
still,
then
that's crazy.
and then there's Oh wait, what is that? Then they have they actually have a horror / drama from 1987 called The Bates Motel. And then that's a movie.
Oh, there's a movie, Bates Motel?
Yes. I never even heard of that one.
I'm gonna have to watch the movie and the show now.
Yeah, honestly. That's interesting.
All right. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Honestly, I want them to try to remake. If they're gonna remake something, I want them to try to remake older movies, but make them like old looking now. I want to see how that would be if they tried to make them look like old fashioned now. You know what I'm saying? So try for the black and white, try for the old type of, instruments that they use for the sound effects and everything like that, but with better effects and everything like that, better acting and current modern actors. I want to see what that would be like.
Huh. That
You know what I'm
might be
saying?
interesting. That might be
would be
interesting. That could go either way.
Yeah, really good. I want to see that because I just like the old feel to a lot of the movies. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the movies that are older, I just really like how it's just like, oh, there's just so many things that have like changed like from then till now. And
Right.
like I want them to try to go backwards and try to do something like old like that, but modern.
Right. And I think a reason why so many film lovers like me and yourself are like that is because such older movies, it's such an obvious difference in like how they're made. Like you're just drawn to it.
Literally. And like it's just I think it just really like gets you intrigued, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to like them older movies and stuff like that. And I want to see what they could pull off if they tried with modern technology and modern filming stuff and all that stuff, trying to recreate older stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, and try to maybe even have a whole subcategory for like you could call it like modern classics or something. I don't know what you would call it, but like or old fashioned, modern old fashioned or something, you know what I'm saying. Like I want to see what like I want to see like a subcategory like that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Where can people find you out online, listen to your music, watch your Daredevil stuff, and just your House of Trouble?
So I'm on everything basically. And if I'm not on it, I will be on it soon. So I'm definitely what I would recommend is Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, things like that. But YouTube is the main. YouTube and Instagram are like the main things that I've been working with and everything like that. So for Instagram, as of right now, actually, I got multiple pages. It's just crazy. I got my two mains, which is official under dashers, whatever it's called, Jertaker, and then the second one's official, like that under dash Jertaker 2. So there's 2 of them. Then I got like other ones, but those are the main ones. And then for YouTube, you can either I would suggest just look it up Jertaker, but you can either look up EC City Productions, EC space City Production and Space Productions for like music and stuff like that. And then for my like entertainment and all that stuff, for like where I got the extreme activities, the adventure videos, the food reviews, the wrestling, all that stuff, that would be on Jertaker Hawks entertainment page. But like I said, you can look up Jertaker, all my stuff comes up, there's playlists, etc. Or if you look up on Google, you could just look up on Google, all the stuff comes up, so you can find that stuff. Or you can go to my compiled link, which is also on Google if you look up Jertaker, which has all my social media, all my music, all my lyrics, all the news that I've been in and everything, etc. But yeah, and for Jertaker Hawks Entertainment, Jertaker spelled Jertaker, and then it's space. Hawks is spelled with a silent G, pronounced with an H, GAUXX, and another space, entertainment. So yeah, I'm everywhere. So I come up first on basically everything. So whatever you look me up on, just look up Jertaker, you'll find me on that. And if you don't, like I said, I'll be on there soon.
And I want to thank you for being on here and for helping me improve my podcast and for agreeing to help me edit all my stuff and making it better.
No problem. Yeah, I always know, we're gonna improve together. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things I can improve with. There's certain things you can improve with. We're gonna make it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And thank you for having me on your podcast. It's definitely a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Well, thank you. And to everybody listening, I ask for you to comment what's a movie you would like to see remake and what your opinion on older movies versus new movies. Thank you, and God bless everyone.